Hello. Thank you very much for stumbling upon this video. My name's Kyle. Um, this is going to be the first video and also an introduction to the channel in what I hope is going to be a fairly interesting series of videos for people called MyRetroTat. And basically, I've accumulated over the years a number of mid-century homewares and other bits and pieces, really, gadgets and appliances and useful stuff. And I actually use quite a lot of this stuff still. When I first got into this sort of thing, the first thing I was drawn to was the style of everything, and it's just things were just so beautifully designed back then. And basically, I later found that not only were they beautiful, they were very, very well made, and a lot of them were very good ideas. And people either didn't take to them at the time, or they became sort of naturally obsolete as fashions and trends changed, or it couldn't connect to the internet, which is a shame for me. I really feel we've lost something in having a sort of Swiss Army knife gadget nowadays. I like bespoke things that are just designed to do one job. They tend to just do that job a little better, in my opinion. Anyway, this is I'm fairly technically minded, but I don't want to bombard people with specifications for everything, and I don't want that to be this sort of channel. This is more about the appreciation of the object in front of us. And yeah, hopefully you'll be along for the ride, and if you are, then thank you very much. And if you don't like it, then that's cool, no problem. I get that it isn't everybody's cup of tea. So I've done a bit of research on this first item. The second one's going to be kind of off the cuff. Think of this as a video museum where you can just sit down with a drink and just have a look at something. Basically, just have a look at this interesting item from yesteryear that isn't around anymore. Some examples have survived going to the tip, being thrown out when somebody sadly passes away, and the younger generations just see it as old junk and they chuck it in the bin, or it gets sent to a charity shop and they can't sell it. And yeah, hopefully that's what this is going to be. I just want it to be a nice, enjoyable channel, especially in the current climate. It'd be very nice if it was just a mellow thing. So that's what we're aiming for. Okay, here we go. Here's our first piece of retro tat. So this is made by my favourite company in the world as far as these mid-century gadgets go, which is Pifco. And just a little bit of information about Pifco. They came about in around 1900 in Manchester, and basically they seemed to have in the 50s a sort of renaissance where they just suddenly decided, we're going to make all of these really outlandish looking pieces of homeware. Appliances are kind of boring looking, so we're just going to take that appliance, make it well, outsource if we can't make it that well, and then put it in a really lovely case. So this is kind of simple design done nicely, in my opinion. So first of all, the box is a piece of 1950s beauty. I love the fonts and the colours. Even the box has got this kind of, I don't know if it's a craquelure effect or if it's meant to look like leather, possibly. But the whole box is like, even the back side of the box is like it. This one has seen a lot of moving around, and I don't mind that. Damage to the label and stuff. I'm not a perfectionist. This thing's worn its years well. It's been used or moved around, or it hasn't just sat in somebody's bottom drawer, and I love that. So yeah, Pifco electric trouser presser, made in England for a knife-edged crease. And this is when you had your suit trousers or what have you, or your skirts that needed that perfect seam, and you couldn't go to the ball unless you had a knife-edged crease. So that's what this was for, basically. There's one thing about this that I really like, but a quick story before we open it. when my sister and brother-in-law obviously got married, the the sleeves on our cuffs were a bit too roundy, and I didn't even know if this worked. I'd never plugged it in. I tried to use all of our appliances, but I didn't know if this worked, and we plugged it in, which you'll see in a second was an interesting sensation. And it heated up in a matter of seconds, and it was a perfect seam. So it's got to be 60 odd years old, and it's still got it. So that's great. Anyway, let's get it open. So here's the trouser presser. It came with the cord wrapped around it like this, and I can't see another way of getting it in the box without doing so, so I put it very carefully back as it was. But look at the chrome. This plating is just beautiful. And there we go. Oh, you can just see a little bit of my double chin. Never mind that, eh? So Pifco electric trouser presser. And I like the, it's almost an Art Deco or a Art Moderne font in the Pifco emblem. And that carries through to the brochure, which I think we'll look at the brochure first. The manual. So, the trouble-free way to a knife-edged crease. Pifco electric trouser presser. Somebody drew this. The hand drawing in these old adverts and manuals just amazes me. There you go. Beautiful, vivid reds and oranges. And should we read this? Let's read this. I'm still deciding how this is going to be, obviously, but the Pifco electric trouser presser. My focus is going to shift now, isn't it? Just take my word for it. Creases trousers, pleated skirts, school tunics, ties, etc. with the minimum of time and effort. No ironing board is required, nor is it necessary to wet the garment or use a damp cloth, and I can testify to that. The even heat and pressure correctly applied on both sides at once, combined with the natural moisture in the cloth, and produce a lasting crease. British made and guaranteed for 1 year. The creaser takes 3 minutes to heat up. That's an underestimation, because ours heated up in, like I say, a matter of seconds. It was less than a minute for sure. It may then be applied to the garment, moving slowly down the line of the crease. The cloth must not be stretched or forced between the electrically heated blades while pressing. Simply allow the creaser to move parallel to the crease. The material must be kept at least half an inch away from the element bar. Yeah, because it gets hot. As shown in the illustration, the heat and even pressing produce a perfect crease. So the illustration is also the artwork. Lovely little starburst there too. Excuse the state of my hands. I've been working today. Okay, so what we've got here now is the thing I found most interesting. This was one of the first of these items I got hold of. That's the plug. Now, what we've got there is a bayonet connector for a light fitting. So before I unravel the cord, I'll go into this first. I made a couple of notes before I made the video. So back in the day, people didn't have an awful lot of plug sockets. We're talking in the 1950s and back from that. Basically, when they replaced the lighting circuits in houses, they were replacing gas lighting in a lot of places. It wasn't seen as a luxury, wasn't seen as something that was to be exploited for livability, essentially. It was just a way of doing away with gas lighting, and electric circuits were the way to do that. So you very rarely had many plug sockets, and you normally needed them for important things. So these guys would just hook up a bayonet fit into the end of it. And I've got a number of these appliances now, and this works just fine. I know everybody says about how dangerous they are, but it works fine. It's insulated. Obviously, if you're daft enough to stick your fingers in a bayonet fitting, you were probably going to get electrocuted anyway. So But again, beautifully made. These contacts are huge and substantial in terms of their build. Even the plug, I don't know if you can make that out. There's a little stamping on there that says made in England. I've never unscrewed this. I don't even know if it does. Let's have a look. Let's just see. I'd like to see what the wiring's like inside. I would imagine this is the old, well, it will definitely be the old code pre-Euro, I would imagine. Yep, there you go, red and black. And those huge, great lumps of brass carry through to here. There we go. I've had a look inside that now, because I hadn't before. Getting brave. So, yeah, this is from the 1950s, as you can probably tell from the artwork. Let me just unravel this off camera a moment. I'll leave you in the presence of that beautiful brochure / instruction manual. So, the body is obviously constructed of steel with a beautiful chrome plating on. I mean, it is flawless. I don't know if it comes across that well on the camera, but the chrome is just stunning. Both sides. None of this, oh, it's the back, so it doesn't matter. No one's going to look. And this looks to be, if it will focus, you can't quite see it, unfortunately. Even this end cap looks like it was made by hand on a lathe. Now, all the black pieces, this is what's known as phenolic resin, which is a precursor to plastic. It isn't technically like modern plastics. It's usually used as a base for Bakelite. And it just feels very substantial for what it is. Let's have a look inside. I've never actually looked at, even the inside is beautifully chromed. I would imagine that would help it slide across the garment that you're trying to press. But this is all beautifully textured as well. And essentially what you do, you hook this up to an available light fitting. For example, just another, not to drive the point home, but many houses in the 50s didn't have plug sockets or ring mains upstairs because, again, it was utility. It wasn't about luxury like we have nowadays, where you can move into a house that not only has double plug sockets in abundance, but also has double plug sockets with USB ports and Wi-Fi points and all that sort of stuff. Back then it was about utility, and obviously the ring main itself was invented to save on copper, so that just shows where the country was at the time. There was still a ration on. It was very austere back then. Excuse me, sorry, just having a sip of beer. This generally changed in the 60s, but I've got to say my house was built in 1962 and we still only have, I think, 2 single sockets without switches per room. So just to take that on board. Where would you be most likely to press your clothes? Probably upstairs where you're getting ready. So you got to plug this into the lighting circuit. I'm glaring you big time. Sorry about that. And another thing was, I read on a forum while looking up some information about this that this was pretty safe as far as things go. I know a lot of Much Ado About Nothing is published about the 50s and what a dangerous time it was for appliances, but really, your average lighting circuit apparently could handle approximately 800 watts before anything really truly terrible happened. I'm not saying it would have been happy about it. I'm not an electrician, so but there's that for you. Yeah, so being pre-60s would have obviously been designed for a light fitting. I'm going to take one for the team here, and I'm going to plug this in. Bear with me a moment. I'm doing this all in one take. Yes, I've just removed the bulb from my light fitting. Right. Let's just... Right, there we go. We're now plugged in. No on-off switch to mess about with. Already getting warm. I'm sorry that the lighting's taken such a dive, but... Yep, already warm. And it takes apparently 3 minutes for full heat, so look at that chrome. Now, this is where we realise I haven't thought things through, because I don't have anything to press. I'm wearing a hoodie. we can give it a go. I don't know how the hoodie's going to react, but let's find out. Apologies in advance to my wife who bought me this hoodie. Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine, right? Still going? Oh yeah, that's getting toasty now. Which is nice because it's freezing down here. Have I got anything? I'm not going to be silly enough to put this down on cardboard, don't worry. I'm just looking around to see if there's anything I can crease with it. I've got a cloth or something. I've got an old t-shirt here. I know it's not the best example. Oh, it's been used as a rag, I'm afraid. But in fairness, it's all crinkled up, so maybe, I don't know how well this phone's going to do in low light. Let's give it a try. Using it exactly as not described. Probably would help if I... Oh, well, it's already ironed that mistake into the fabric. Let's try again. It'd be easier to do if I wasn't trying to wrap myself around a phone that was filming, I must admit. I would imagine this is designed for right-handed people. And I'm using it with my left hand. In fairness, it's not too bad. It's my clumsiness that's causing the issue. Let me just try. Right. Gonna focus, please. Let's get it. Let's let it get 1 minute. I mean, already here you can see that crease is just gone. This is a t-shirt that was screwed up in a ball in a bag, ready to be washed because it was being used as a rag. And even then, it's tidied this up no end. Just to show you an example. See how flat? Not that you can. Let me plug the light fitting back in. I think we've made our point. I might do another video where I just use this and add it as a supplementary because that clearly doesn't work too well. So actually it will still have enough heat in it, I would imagine. Let's this has not gone well. Never mind. Never mind. Low pressure channel. So you can see how crinkly it all is down here, and it's been used for greasy all manner of stuff. But look at the... Okay, I'm just going to let that relax up there. And that was a scrunched up ball of fabric a moment ago. So you can imagine on a set of suit trousers, come on a pair of suit trousers, what that would do so far as cleaning up. Oh, it's lovely and warm. What could possibly go wrong? Just stick it back in the bag. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I really do. And I hope the next one's better because obviously I'm totally new to this. The Pifco electric trouser presser, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this lovely little piece of 1950s life. If any of you remember using something like this before you went out for a beer or to a dance or shopping, let me know, because people used to do things like that back then. They had a lot more respect for themselves and the world around them when it came to the details, I find. Different time, based on its own merits. I think it was great. But if you've got any memories of it, please just pop it in the comments. That'd be great. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.